Wow. I mean, this is amazing. Incredible. We're going to have a lot of fun today. We have a lot of time. A lot of time. So thank you all. This is amazing. Do you know outside, I don't know if you've heard what's going on. Have you heard? So the room holds 3,000 people. Outside, they have 11,000 people trying to get in. Amazing. Amazing. So I don't know what we're going to do, but we put the mics out, we put the speakers outside, and hopefully everybody's hearing. Are you hearing us outside? Can you believe it? So, you know, CNN just released a poll an hour ago, and it even surprised me, I'll tell you. Just came out, Trump, 49. Just came out. Oh, that's too bad. Gee, that's too bad. I'm looking at little Marco Rubio, 16. Lion Ted Cruz, 15. Carson, 10, and Kasich, 6. So this just came out a few minutes ago. Trump, 49. Wow. That's fantastic. And we just got the endorsement, as you know, of Chris Christie. We just got the endorsement of Senator Jeff Sessions, who's one of the great people. We have Sarah Palin. We have, it's great. We have so many great endorsements, and I've never thought of endorsements as so much. Jerry Falwell Jr., Liberty University, great guy. Sheriff Joe Arpaio, I mean, there's nobody messing with Jerry. I'll tell you, we have amazing endorsements, and the people that really mean. We have hundreds of people now that want to endorse. The problem is they want to meet with me, they want to have dinner, they want to get together, and I just don't want to do it. I want to be with you. So there it is, okay, folks? 49, 16, 15, 10, 6. It's looking pretty good. Looking pretty good. And, you know, importantly, the New York Post, Fred Dicker, great writer for the New York Post, political writer, he said that Trump very well could win New York. New York has never been in play. For a Republican candidate, it's just not in play. They don't even think about it. They don't even campaign there. I will be campaigning in New York. I love New York, okay? And I will be campaigning in New York. And if we win New York, it's over, you understand? Because we pick up so many delegates. We're also doing really well in Michigan. So, you know, from a structural standpoint, Republicans have a hard time. Because structurally, you have to win Pennsylvania, you have to win Ohio, you have to, you know, they have like a map of, in particular, 6 states. And you lose one, it's over. Democratic ride is a much easier ride. But if I pick up New York or if I pick up Michigan, it's over, folks. It's over. It's over. We're going to do great with Hispanics. People are going to be surprised. We just won in Nevada, and we won with the Hispanics, and we won at 46%. So people are going to be surprised. We're going to do phenomenally with the African Americans. They're going to be phenomenal. We're going to have large numbers. We're going to have large numbers of people coming over. You know, they used to call them the Reagan Democrats. Now let's keep calling them the Reagan Democrats. They're coming over. They're going to be with us. We're going to have a lot of people, a lot of independents come over. So, and I think, you know, somebody said if it's Trump against Hillary Clinton, it's going to be, can you believe? Honestly, she should not be allowed to run. She should not be allowed to run. Really. Now, Bernie Sanders is over. You know, he took a big beating. But you look at South Carolina. So they just left South Carolina. She had a good victory over him. I drew, and the Republicans drew so many more votes, like double it, and they went down because there's no enthusiasm for Hillary. None. we went way up because whether people like me or not, there is enthusiasm. That I can tell you. There is enthusiasm. Big, big, big enthusiasm. So it's been going along well. It's been a nasty, nasty deal. You know, when I said I'd run for office, I deal with real estate people. I deal with people much tougher, much, much tougher than the people I'm dealing with. But they're more honest in a certain way. Politicians are very dishonest people. I've never seen such deception. I've never seen so many lies. And these are dishonest people, and I hate to say it. And it's sad. It's sad. And I say, all talk, no action. I mean, I build a great business, a phenomenal business. I file my papers with the Federal Elections Commission. Everybody has it. These people back there have it. They go through. Everybody's impressed. A lot of people said, number one, they said he'd never run. Then I ran. Then they said he'll never sign what they call Form A. Form A is where you literally sign your life away. I signed Form A. Then they said, oh, he'll never put in his financials because maybe he's not as rich as people think. So I put in my financials, which showed that I'm much richer. The company is phenomenal. It's phenomenal. The company is, like, incredible. And frankly, the press didn't have that much to say. They were there. You have no idea. The first day, they said they've never seen at the federal, they've never seen people looking, that many people trying to look at papers. So the papers are great. Low debt, phenomenal assets, some of the great assets, big cash flow, and I put them in. And the reason I tell you that is because that's the kind of thinking we need in this country. That's what we need. We have $19 trillion in debt, going to $21 trillion, and that's the kind of thinking. We have to make great deals. But anyway, I put in my papers. People came, the press went through every inch of them. They said, wow, this is amazing. We didn't expect this because the company's actually much bigger, much stronger, and great. And then I have to listen to a little guy like Rubio say, oh, he's a con man. He's a con man. Now, think of it. No, but it's so insulting. And he had no choice. I guess he had to come up with something because he's getting creamed in the polls. He's like 20 points down in Florida. You know, in Florida, where he comes from, this guy couldn't be elected dog catcher right now if he ran. Now, think of it. He's defrauded the people of Florida. He's defrauded them. He's defrauded them in a lot of ways. You know, maybe he's defrauded the Republican Party building driveways with their money. You know, they catch him. He builds a driveway and other things. And they say, you're not supposed to do that. Oh, I'm allowed to. They say, well, we caught you. He said, oh, I used the wrong credit card. I'll pay you back. He pays back. Nothing happens. You know, Chris Christie would take it a little bit differently than that. And by the way, speaking of Chris, I was standing on the dais a few weeks ago, and I watched, I call him lightweight. I watched lightweight Marco Rubio. He was standing right here. And I watched this, and I saw a meltdown. I said, what am I watching here? You know, we have millions of people watching, and I saw an almost complete meltdown. In fact, I was prepared to catch him when he fell. I was. I really thought he was going to fall. They asked him a question. He gave the Barack Obama answer, right? And he gave an answer, and then he gave the same answer again because he's like a machine. He's like a robot. You wind him up and he talks. He's like a robot. We call him the robot. Well, we call him the lightweight, but we call him the lightweight robot. But he gave the answer first time, gave it a second time, gave it a third time, gave it a fourth time, and then at the fifth time I said, there's something wrong. And then I looked. He was soaking wet like he just got out of a swimming pool with his clothes on. And it was honestly, I'll be honest, it was a sad thing to see. But you can't have this kind of a person negotiating with the Chinese, negotiating with Putin. Can you imagine? He's going to go and see Putin. Putin's a confident guy, smart guy. He's sitting down, and Marco walks in, and he's soaking wet. He's exhausted. He's soaking wet. Putin's going to look at him and say, what the hell's wrong with that guy? Do you remember when he was answering, the Republicans brilliantly picked him to give the answer to Obama in the state of whatever, I guess one of the speeches, by the way, a very important speech. So Obama got up, did his thing, and now we have our response, right? And he's speaking, and you see there's something wrong with him. And he's speaking. And then he goes totally off camera doing live television, and he grabs a bottle of water with the label on it. Now, unless he had a piece of that company, I think it was a terrible thing to do. If he had a piece of the company, we can all understand that, right? And he starts chugging water. Nobody has ever seen anything like that before. So we cannot have choke artists running our country. These guys are choke artists. We cannot have choke artists running our country. Our country is in trouble. Our country is in trouble. Now, Ted Cruz, on the other hand, Ted Cruz is smarter. No, he's a smarter person than Rubio, but he's so strident. I mean, folks, it's not going to work, okay? It's not going to work. You know, he thinks it's good. We call him Lion Ted. He'll listen to me say something. He'll get up someplace else, and he will say the exact opposite of what I said. For instance, I'm very strong on the Second Amendment. He says, Donald Trump is totally opposed to the Second Amendment. The people that have been with me know for years. I mean, you know what I've been saying. I am, and I have been from the beginning, against Obamacare. We're going to repeal it, and we're going to replace it. Ted Cruz goes on television, and he goes, Donald Trump loves Obamacare. I love Obamacare. Every single speech, I say repeal and replace. I think if anybody's been, a lot of people come to this because we have a lot of fun. But every single speech, I talk about repealing, replacing, and he'll just lie. So I call him lying, and it was interesting because little Marco said the other day, he said, you're a liar to Ted. He wasn't referring to me. He said, you're a liar. That's a lie. It's the first time I've ever heard a politician, and I deal with a lot of politicians, and believe me, they are liars in many cases. And there's some good ones, but not too many. But Marco said to Ted, you're a liar. And I said, you know, now that a politician says it, you have two politicians there saying it, they're screaming at each other. Then they got together and they said, oh, we have to be tough. The last debate, did you see them shaking hands? Behind my back, shaking hands? They're high-fiving each other inside before the thing. I said, you know what? They're double teaming. And yet every single poll, Drudge, every single poll has Trump winning the debate. Pretty amazing, right? Pretty amazing. And most people, other than, you know, some people, some of the pundits are totally, you know, forget it. I'll tell you that we're going to write a book about some of the pundits, I think. The problem is who's going to buy a book like that because nobody cares about them. The press is amazingly dishonest, okay? The press is a real problem in this country. And one of the things that's very important to me, and it only made, no, I tell you what. I'm dealing with some real sleazebags up here, believe me. I think the press is worse, okay? I'm telling you, they're worse than the politicians. And not all, but 80%. And one of the things, I mean, I get stories that have no basis in fact whatsoever. And one of the things, they can write anything they want and you can't sue them because the libel laws they essentially don't exist. And one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the libel laws. We're not going to do anything with freedom of the press. Freedom of the press is vital. It's important. It's a cleansing system. It's totally something that we can't touch. But when people write incorrectly about you, and you can prove that they wrote incorrectly, we're going to get them through the court system to change, and we're going to get them to pay damages. And you know what's going to happen? When you do that with the press, you're going to see a much more honest press, and you're going to see a press, frankly, that you're going to respect a lot more, and you'll read. I mean, you're going to read. People don't believe the press anymore, and I don't either. And the political press is the worst of all. So, and I don't say all of them, but I'd say 80%, okay? That's a pretty good number. I'd say this, 50% of them are absolute sleaze, okay? Absolute. 25% are okay, don't care, they do their job. You have 25% that's pretty good. You have 10% that's outstanding, all right? You have 10%, they really are. They're outstanding. I've met some outstanding people in the press, but a big chunk of it is really, really dishonest. So I just want to let you know. And to be honest, the way they write about me, you know, it's funny. They did a story recently in one of the papers, and they told, actually, it's something that worked out, a couple of things. You know, a great deal maker is when you can take a deal and make it good, when it shouldn't be good. The market crashes in the middle, you're building a building, the market crashes, not your fault, and you come out and make a lot of money because you know your way around, you do that. And I've done a number of those deals, but they call up, they want to know about this deal, that deal. I said, let me ask you a question. What about the 250 great deals? You want to know about them? No, we're not interested in them. It is so incredible what you go through with the press, and it's very unfair. And the amazing thing is, people understand it. People know, and that's why they have such low numbers. When you poll the press, I mean, they're ranked, I think, below Congress, and Congress is almost not even ranked So it's an amazing thing. You've got to keep your eyes open. You've got to keep your ears open. And we want honesty. So we're going to get the laws changed so that the press has to be honest. And if they're not honest, if they say things that are wrong, they can be sued, and they're going to have to correct and maybe pay penalties and maybe pay something. Do you like that idea? I think to me, I think it's really good. So we have a situation that on January or so of this year, I went out and I said, you know what? We are making progress like I've never seen before. But January from the previous year, I was really mixed. Do I do this? Do I not do it? I gave up a lot. I gave up a lot of deals that are good deals that I do just automatically. I gave up The Apprentice. I mean, I'm not doing The Apprentice. They came to me, the head of Comcast, a great guy, Steve Burke, came up to my office, said, Donald, would love you to renew, would love you to renew. I said, Steve, I can't do it because I'm going to run for president. I think. He said, you're not going to run, you're not going to run, you're going to do it, you're not going to run. I said, I really think I'm going to run, but you can never be sure. Because let me tell you, to do this takes guts. To run for president, I'm not a politician, to run for president takes guts. And I didn't know, correct. 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 He said it very well. Guy said it very well, but I'm not allowed to say that, so yeah. How about Vicente Fox? He used the F-bomb, right? Can you imagine if I used that word? And this came, he was the president of Mexico, and while we're on it, because I want to just say, I watched that display. I watched the hatred and the anger in his face. And it wasn't just about the wall, because we're going to have strong borders, and we will be building the wall. We're building the wall. We're building the wall. We're building the wall 100%. We're building the wall. Okay. Okay. We need the wall. We need the wall. You know what? People are going to come into our country, but they're going to come in legally. Legally, they're going to come in. They're going to go through a process, and they're going to come in. We're going to have great people coming into our country, but they come in legally. So anyway, I watched this guy, and I saw it on television, and he said, he was talking about paying, because who's going to pay for the wall? Who? Mexico's going to pay. So these politicians come up. What do you mean, Donald? Mexico's not paying for the wall. They don't have a clue. They are so bad. I'll tell you what. If for some reason God said it's not going to be you, it's going to be one of these people, you might as well give up. Never going to happen, folks. They don't even know what I'm talking about. The other day, Ted said on television, we're going to build a wall. First time I said, where did that come from? My wife came to me and said, Ted Cruz just said we're going to build a wall. Where did it come from? Then Rubio the other day, little Marco, he said, we're going to build a wall. We're going to build a wall. Oh, these people, they're never going to take you to the promised land, folks. It's not going to happen. They're never bringing you to the promised land. But they come up to me at the beginning and they said, you're not serious about a wall. It can't be built. I said, really? China, 2,000 years ago, built a 13,000-mile wall, right? Think of it. The Great Wall of China, still standing, very strong, very big, very powerful. China built that wall 2,000 years ago. It's 13,000. We need 2,000 miles, but really 1,000 because we have a lot of natural barriers that we don't have to build. So we need 1,000 miles. China has 13,000 miles, but I'm going to make my wall even higher than China's wall. We're going to make it big. We're going to make it so beautiful. It's going to be the most beautiful wall because you know what's going to happen? They're going to say, let's name it the Trump wall, and I want it to be really good looking, okay? But much more importantly, it's going to be a wall that works. It's going to work, and it does work. And if you want to ask, you just ask Israel. Walls work if you do them right. We build these walls, they're like a joke. They build ramps going over the wall. They load up their trucks with drugs. They go over the wall. I don't even know why they don't just knock it down. You ever see the pictures of the ramps where they build ramps going over the wall? It would be cheaper to just knock down the wall. This is the kind of stuff we do. So here's what happens. So Vicente Fox, who was the past president, was so angry. And he says, there's no way Mexico is going to pay for the you-know-what wall, right? And he was the anger. And I realized that anger wasn't about the wall. That anger was about how dare somebody question Mexico because they get their way. How dare they question Mexico? How dare they come and say, we have to do this or we have to do that? Folks, we're the United States. We're the United States. And I'll tell you what, we are not taking this stuff anymore from all these countries that are ripping us and laughing at us. We have stupid leadership, we have incompetent leadership, and we're not taking it anymore. And I watched that guy, and he was so angry that somebody would suggest that Mexico's going to pay for the wall, but he was so angry that there was actually, like, somebody would be talking back to Mexico. I have a great relationship with Mexico. I have a great relationship with Mexico people and with Hispanics. In fact, I employ tens of thousands of people. Tens of thousands of people. Are you back there, darling? Who's protesting? Anybody? Oh. Get out of here. Get them out. Get them out. Get them out. Get them out. All right. So he just got on television. He's happy. Just got on television. Hey, folks. Listen, do you remember when Bernie Sanders was up making a speech and the two young girls came up and took the microphone away? Remember that? That's not happening here, folks. That's never going to happen here. Remember that? He walked by. If I were running against him, I'd just keep running that commercial. He walked by like a little boy. I tell you, it was disgusting. When I saw that, I said, this is going to be a leader. But he's over now anyway. In all fairness, nobody's showing up, and Bernie Sanders is over. He had a good run. And by the way, in all fairness, by far, I have the largest crowds, by far. But he had the second largest crowds, I will say. But I think you'll see his crowds now really start to dwindle because it's over. Unless she gets indicted, in which case he's back in the driver's seat, right? But I think she's being very protected. I think she's being very protected by the Democrats, even though many lives were ruined for doing a lot less than she did. So it's very unfair, but it will be brought up. I promise you, folks, it will be brought up on a minute-to-minute basis, okay? We will not forget. So I watched the hatred and the anger of this past president of Mexico, the actual anger, and I realized it was more than the wall. It was that they would actually be told. So we lose $58 billion in trade deficits a year with Mexico. $58 billion. The wall is going to cost $10 billion. When these characters come up, Mexico will never pay for the wall. When you're losing, when you have, essentially they're making $58 billion. We're going to get 10 of that billion so quick. In fact, I think now that I watched him, I'm going to ask for much more money because we're going to make that wall bigger, better, stronger. I actually got a call from one of the reporters that's standing right back there. Look at all that press. Isn't that amazing? Look at that. Oh, this school. I met your dean. I met your head person, a lovely woman. I said, this school is going to become so famous. Oh, is this school famous? This school. Those people, they're from all over the world. But you know what? One of them called me after the guy did the F-bomb. Nobody ever talks about that. They don't talk about that. Not one person talks about that. All they talk about is he's against the wall. He's not going to pay for the wall. So they said, how do you respond to his anger? And how do you respond to the fact that he says they won't pay? I said, you heard it. The wall just got 10 feet higher. Okay? 10 feet higher. Believe me. We're not going to be the dopey people anymore. We're not going to be the stupid people anymore. We're going to be the brilliant people. We're going to be the smart people. We're going to be the people that bring in money. We're going to be the people that create jobs for our country, not for China and not for Mexico. You know, the biggest question I get, because you have a lot of young people, and it's a great college, by the way, I want to tell you. It's a great college. It's a great school. One of the questions I get, especially when I go to, schools and colleges, is the debt is just killing people. The debt. The government debt, they borrow from the government. The cost of the colleges are going through the roof. And the biggest problem we have, you know what it is? You graduate, you're a good student, you have a great school like this, and sometimes it's hard to get jobs. And I'm being nice when I say sometimes, because I know you people. Hey, is everybody all set with jobs? Raise your hands. Who's got jobs? Okay. Who doesn't? Oh, no! That's a lot of hands. That's a lot of hands.